Okay then, so let's look at armies. Right away there's a mercenary button. I'll just, tell you what mercenaries are and then you can figure it out from there. You know what a mercenary is. It's a unit that you recruit for a certain amount of time for a certain amount of money. Usually it's 3 turns and, all the different factions will bid over them. Against the AI, they never win. You can bid like 1 gold higher than the standard cost and they won't bid against you, so don't worry about it. And you can keep renewing the contract just when it's about to come to its end. When it says 1 turn remaining, you renew it, job's a good one, they stay on your side. But let's actually talk about recruitment, because I think that's the most interesting one right now. So this is the recruitment panel. It's separated into roughly 3 areas. You have the infantry that you recruit, so things like the War Mammoth, these standard warrior types. Then you have the commanders who lead them, and when you buy things like let's do all that, they appear at the bottom here, ready to be bought next turn. Everything in this game takes a turn to recruit. You click something, it'll appear next turn. Other than that, it's just a matter of figuring out what to recruit and what not to recruit. If we run through from left to right, weakest is usually on the far left, strongest is usually on the far right. When it goes down a level, that just means they've got that many troops they can't go over here, they just go down one. Same thing for commanders. You've got your scouts and then you've got your high sorcerers and things. So let's just check out this dude, the Spirehorn Warrior. Immediately we can tell he's flying. He's got this great big ass wings and he's got the special ability, flying. That's great. All these stats, it's okay to say that 10 is the average stat for a human. So 10 hit points, 10 protection, 10 morale, 10 magic, well, not 10 encumbrance, not fatigue, resources and gold, same, defense, attack, strength, precision, but not necessarily movement value. Movement is broken into the map movement speed and how fast they move when they're in battle and how many action points they have. So they can move 3 squares, but in a battle they have 8 action points to run forward or fly or whatever. Running through things that will keep your men alive and what will get them killed. Hit points, that's, once they go down to 0, that's it, they're dead. And protection, that's their armor, if they're wearing armor. It actually explains that, if you've got, say, protection 10, that's average. But if you're a knight or whatever, you'll have protection 20. That's fair enough. It's divided into head and body. It's best to cover both, really, because the game every now and then will one-shot you in the head, because it's a kind of a dice game. The computer kind of figures out and then, goes through the motions. But one of the things you can do to keep them alive is attack skill and defense skill. Defense is basically your ability to repel an enemy's attack, whilst at the same time the attack skill is what you use to, bash away at someone. You can have multiple attacks. You can't really have multiple defenses unless you have 5 arms and every arm's holding a shield, but that'd be weird. But yeah, you got your equipment and your armor layout at the bottom, and you've got your special abilities at the top. We're cold resistant to a certain degree, and we're shock resistant to a certain degree. So lightning and ice, we're okay with. These guys hold an ice lance, 3 damage. That's added on to your strength, unless it says otherwise. So we'd be dealing about 13 damage on a hit, but we're doing that at a length of 4. So that's cool. You get 1 attack. Doesn't increase or decrease your defense, and it's considered magic, so ethereal we can give a stab at. Look at the armor. 8 protection to your body, not your head, because most things will just cover your body. They won't necessarily cover the head as well. You don't have to worry about hands or feet or anything. Its body's considered everywhere. It's only with commanders that you can give them shoes and gloves and things for different abilities. This does decrease the defense, but and it also shows you how much it weighs. Encumbrance is what it costs to do an action in the game, not necessarily move around, but in the battle how much fatigue you get from stabbing someone or from running up next to them and hitting them with a sword. So let me put it this way: my guys earn 5 fatigue every time they strike, and the moment I get to 100, they pass out, falls dazed or unconscious to the ground, is unable to move, attack, or defend. Fantastic. That means you can be the most heavily armoured motherfucker, but all it takes, if you're tired, all it takes is one guy to walk up to you and put a knife through the 10 spot. That's it, you're just dead, because, you know, you can't defend against it. So basically it's better to not pass out in the middle of a fight, goes without saying. But if we can compare that to, say, one of the commanders, Storm General, for example, what we immediately see is you've got this whole new level of stuff here, like hand slots, a helmet slot, body, legs, and some miscellaneous slots, and space for gems, slaves, and so on. This is kind of like what happens when you want to kit out your generals with the best equipment. So you can give them, say, a bow and arrow that's enchanted with lightning. You can give them a spear that on hit will do some sort of sonic damage. It's what construction is for in the magic selection, because you get to choose sort of different magical items that you could forge and give to your, not necessarily your generals. I mean, if their entire job is to carry people around, you know, you wouldn't necessarily want them getting in the front lines and getting killed. One of the important things to remember is morale. Our dudes have like morale of 9, or that very basic unit did, and if the average squad's morale is 10, you know, every time you take some damage you have to do a morale check. This is usually a D20 check, I believe, in the game, and I think the amount of damage can affect that, or it might not, but yeah, high morale good, low morale bad, it goes without saying. He's naturally more protected because he's wearing all this ice armour, because, you know, we're an ice age, an ice nation, so everything's icy. Let's look at some of the better troops, or from what, you know, judging where they are, might be better. The Iceclad, for example. This guy looks like one of the generals. He's wearing a ton of armour, so he's protection 16, 18 to head, which is damn good. He's got a slightly lowered strength, but that'll probably be because he's walking around with all this armour, and he has a higher encumbrance. You know, every time this guy does something, he's going to be falling asleep. We might get, say, 10 turns out of this guy of combat, and then around that time he's got 90 fatigue and he might, you know, be passing out. Then again, he's also carrying an ice blade, which is this strength 5 weapon, so 14 damage on a hit, that's alright. A damn good defense skill, so chances are he's not going to be taking that many hits, but only 9 hit points, so he's got to be careful if he does. Then again, we can always compare that to the Mammoth. This thing does not fly, so ignore these little wings, they're just set dressing. It's more like an elephant than anything, but that goes without saying. It has the ability to trample, and trample is damn good. It means that units have a size characteristic, and a size 6 unit can crush things that are size 2. For example, this weak dude, he is size 3, and he would get squelched. You know, the Mammoth could just walk over him as his attack move. And, you know, it's one of those move or die kind of things. You'll either take damage and stay alive, but having been pushed back, or you'll take damage and die. So it's, you know, if we had a wall of these just walking forwards, that'd be great. Problem with them is, they don't really have all that great protection, and the morale is one of their main weaknesses in that they can flee a lot. Then again, they're also cold resistant, 100%, so they're not taking any damage from ice spells. And they have, well, it's an animal. I'm going to have a look over all these units now, then I'll give a brief rundown of Callium's Middle Age forces.